everybody, welcome back to Crafts by KMW. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate it and I hope you enjoy it. If you do, please click the thumbs up to like the video, and if you're not already a subscriber, I would really appreciate it if you would smash that subscribe button and join me, and you will be able to get access to all of my previous videos as well as notification for when I put up new ones like this one. Before I start, I would like to shout out to all of my current subscribers. Thank you so much for subscribing to my channel. It means the world to me. I am so appreciative, and I hope you are enjoying the channel. Please let me know in the comments if you have any requests for videos. I try to accommodate those, and I really love seeing what you would like to see in video. So let me know if you have any ideas. So today's video, as you can probably guess, is a color along, and this is a brand new page from Hannah Karlzon's Etsy store. This came out just about a week and a half ago, and as soon as I got the notification that she had a new page up, I looked at it, loved it, and purchased it. So this page, it has a name, and I cannot remember what it is. I'm not sure, but it does have a name, and it's a really neat Halloween name. And this page cost $3.71 on Etsy, which I kind of thought was expensive. That's in US dollars. Her pages usually range like for 2 pages, she'll have them like be 4 and change. For a set of 5, they might be 5 or 6. So I thought that was a lot for one page, but I love Hannah Karlzon. I really like this page, so I went ahead and I purchased it. And I actually purchased it when there was a discount on Etsy in general, and so I did get a little bit off of it. It wasn't much. I think it brought it down to like $3.23 or something like that. But if you catch Etsy when they're having Etsy-wide sales, you can get this at a little bit of a discount. As far as I'm aware, and I've been shopping from Hannah's store for well over a year, she does not do sales or get discounts. So if you want to get something off, anything from her Etsy store, it needs to be during an Etsy sale. Today it is November 9th, 2023, and Etsy is having a Etsy-wide, store-wide sale. You can get $10 off your $40 purchase. So if you shop on Etsy, or if you have some things that you need that you can get on Etsy, it might be worth it to check it out. See if you can build a $40 cart and get $10 off of that. I'm actually going to do that later on today after I make this video, because I do have a bunch of stuff in my cart. So I'm going to see if I can get a $40 order. But anyway, before I start, I do want to mention one other thing about Hannah's store. All of the pages that she sells in her Etsy store, if you're not aware, are exclusive to her Etsy shop. She makes them just for her Etsy store. You cannot find them in any book. You can't find them published anywhere else. And I really like that because they are truly one of a kind. So I printed this out on mixed media paper. So it is good for pretty much any type of supply that you would like to use. It's great for water-based supplies like water-based markers or watercolors or paint, and it's really good for colored pencils and chalk pastels as well. I printed this just as it was, but when I trimmed it as close to the image as possible because I didn't want to have a large amount of background, because my goal is to color this entire page just with colored pencils. I really want to get back to basics with this one. On all of the other color alongs I've done on my channel, and That includes the 3 fall Halloween color longs that I have. I have a mandala one from Millie Murata's Wildlife Wonders that I just did in fall colors and tried some new techniques on. That was put up about a week and a half ago. And from last year, I have 2 witch color alongs from Hannah Karlzon's Spirit Animals. I used a ton of different supplies on those pages. And I love doing that. I like using my supplies, and I like having the freedom to be able to use different materials and get different looks. But on this one, I really want to go back to basics and just use my pencils. So I'm using my Brutfuner 520 set. They are an oil-based pencil, and they work pretty good on this paper. I love my Brutfuner pencils. It's my number 2 pencil, aside from my Prismacolors. And I also have my Stabilo Carbothello chalk pastels in hand, just in case I want to do a little bit on the background. Coloring backgrounds with colored pencil is really tedious. It takes a long time, so I may want to just fill in the space that I have open with the chalk pastels. So I just have those on hand in case I'm going to use them. So for this page, I am really wanting to do a lot of glow. So I want to put glow around the ghosts and around her and around these little flames. So I'm going to start with the glow, because that way I won't color into those areas and thus ruin the glow effect. So I am picking out my yellow and green pencils because I want to do some green glow and I want to do some yellow glow. So I am picking sharp green first to do some green glow. This is kind of a neon green. I'm not sure if it's considered a neon green, but it looks pretty bright when you look at it. So I'm going to do a little bit of a green glow around her. So I'm just going in a circular motion around her. I'm not pressing very hard, but I am going kind of slowly. I want to make sure that I get all or most of the white covered. So I'm just going over it a few times. I don't really color in layers. It's funny, I saw a post this morning on one of the coloring groups that I belong to. I couldn't tell you which one because I belong to a lot. And someone asked how you get smooth color when using colored pencils, and, you know, expressed concern that using lots of layers takes a long time, and is that the best way? And, you know, I don't use lots of layers. I pretty much color in 1 or 2 layers. If I'm going to be blending, I'll try to put at least 2, because when you blend, the blending works better if you have more of the pencil on there, because the blenders will add wax onto it and will also take away some of the color. I mean, they just pick up some of the color that you've laid down. So you get the best results if you have a couple of layers. But I'm not one of those that colors super lightly and then goes back and then adds another layer super lightly and then goes back. I just don't color that way. It is, to me, just it just takes too long and it's just not efficient. So I color basically in 1 or 2 or 3 layers. I will add layers when necessary, but if I can get the color lay down and opacity in like 1 layer, that's what I'm gonna do. And I don't think there's anything wrong with coloring in multiple layers. You know, I always say and feel that coloring is an art and it is personal to everyone. Everyone colors how they would like to color. They color how they would like to see the final artwork. And yes, we try to get better and improve, but coloring is very personal and everybody has their own style and their own way of doing it. So I never try to tell people how to color or what to do. I do my thing, and I hope that maybe it will inspire others and show others like different ways to do things if they are looking for some new ideas. So I'm almost done here. So right now I've just laid down the basic band of glow, and then I'm going to come back around and kind of feather it out, go a little bit lighter so it can look like it's a little bit faded into the background that I laid down later. I probably will do the background last on this one. I don't always. I tend to do my backgrounds at different times. Sometimes I do them first. Like if I have a strong idea about what I want to do, sometimes I will do it first to see how it turns out. Or if I am doing a background in, say, like gelatos or another supply that might be messy or that I need to, you know, clean up afterwards, I'll go ahead and get that done first. So then that's out of the way. It just really depends. If I'm using chalk pastels for a background, a lot of times I'll do it last because the chalk pastels are really messy and you have to be very careful about laying your hands and fingers on top of it because it will not only smear and smudge what you did, but you will get chalk all over you. So it just depends on what my purpose is and what materials I'm using. I really like this glow so far. I'm sorry if there's a little bit of camera jiggle. I can't I can't help that. I'm really trying not to not to make it so there's camera jiggle, but sometimes it happens. I'm not putting the glow around the candle. I want to do some yellow around that, although it's kind of filled up with the green anyway, but at least on these other two, it'll be able to be a little bit more yellow. Okay, so now I've added my glow. So now I'm going to take a lighter green, and this is called Sunny Lime. So this is a little bit lighter. It's actually sort of bordering on like a yellow green. And I'm just going to add a little bit on the edges of what I just laid down, just so it kind of looks like it's a little more blendy. When I add the black to the background, I don't want it to be so stark with that green. I want it to kind of ease into it. So I'm just adding a little bit of this lighter color to the edge. I'm not burnishing. I'm not trying to lay an opaque layer. I just want a little bit of light color. I can always come back and add more on if I feel that I need to once I do the background. I'm looking at these little dots here, and actually I'm realizing that I kind of lied about wanting to do this thing all in colored pencil. It will have a little bit of gel pen on it because I'm probably going to go over these little dots in some kind of gel pen. I'm not sure if it will be white gel pen or silver. I really don't know yet, but I will probably use gel pen on those. So I guess it's not going to be completely colored in colored pencil, but mostly. Okay. So I really like that. So now I'm going to do a little bit of yellowish glow around the ghosts. So I think I'm going to try this color Lemon Meringue. It looks pretty light, not really neon. So this I'm going to use for around the ghosts. Okay, it's not as bright as I want it, so I'm going to shift. So I'm going to try Sun Glare. I think this is the neon yellow that is in the Brutfuner set. Yeah, I like that better. I want it to be... I want it to be brighter. So again, I'm just doing a light layer. I'm not being too exact as far as trying to get, you know, true opaqueness, getting out all of the white of the paper. That's not going to happen right now. I'm just really trying to get a light glow going. So I'm just going to go back and just feather out the edges. Just add a very, very light edge to what I just did. There really isn't another color that I can do this with, so I'm just keeping it this color. Again, this is just so you have a little bit of a blend in with the background. So now I'm gonna do same thing on these other ghosts. I just realized I have a bit of black in here from my ring. I forget sometimes to take off. I have a pinky ring, and sometimes I forget to take it off. So I will get dark marks on my paper. So, all right. I just wanted to erase that before I forgot. All right. So we'll see if I can make this less than a 3-hour color along. I always say that. If you watch some of my other color alongs, I almost always say that I am trying to make this a like 2-hour color along. I always try, but I never seem to be able to do it. For some reason, my color alongs always turn out to be like 3.5 hours or more. I think the most recent one was the one with the mandala in Millie Murata's book, is pretty close to 4 hours long. Okay. Now I'm just going around and doing that very light layer on the very edge. I'm keeping these colors out so I know what they are and I have quick access to them. So when I add the background in, if I need to come back and add a little bit more, I can do that pretty easily. Okay, so I'm trying to think about what I want these to be, and I'm not sure if I want them to be flames. I'm actually thinking that I would like them to be like moonbeams or moon drops. So I think I'm gonna make them white. So I'm going to use my white Prismacolor pencil. Prismacolor is really the only color pencil in white that I think works really well. There might be others. If you know of another brand of white pencil that works great, I would love to know in the comments. But for me, the Prismacolor is the one that works the best. So I'm gonna color these in white. And I want to do a very pale glow around them. So I'm looking for like my lightest yellow. All right, I'm gonna try this one. So this one is called French Vanilla. I think it's sort of like a creamy white, maybe an eggshell. And that might look pretty good around these little moonbeams or moon drops. I am not sure what Hannah Karlzon intends them to be, but I don't know. I feel like making them flames just kind of appearing out of nowhere is kind of weird. So I like the idea of moonbeams instead, or moon drops. And I don't know if I consider her a scary witch, I think she's a magical witch. I think she's a powerful witch, but I don't know if she's necessarily evil or just the look on her face. I just don't think she's evil. So I don't think that she would necessarily have or use fire. So I like that better. All right, so now I'm going to get a black. Now the Brutfuner set has a lot of different black shades. So sometimes it takes a while to find the exact one that you want. Okay, so this one is licorice. And I'm going to color the insides of the ghost's eyes and the insides of the skulls black. And I'm going to blend these out in just a minute just to make sure that I have opacity and that none of the paper is showing through. These are pretty small spaces, so it's not like you can layer a lot. So I'm going to be blending them out with my Prismacolor colorless blender just to make sure that there's no white showing through and they are opaque and black. Okay. So now I'm going to get my blender. And again, this is the Prismacolor colorless blender. This is my favorite blender. I have a couple others. I have the Lyra. That one is more for oil-based pencils, but it works on wax-based as well. And I also have two different Caran d'Ache blenders. I did a blender comparison video on my channel a while back, so you can check that out if you'd like. And I compare the Prismacolor and the Caran d'Ache blenders. And I actually just solidified my belief that the Prismacolor blender is the best. It worked, in my view, better than the Caran d'Ache. I know a lot of people really like the Caran d'Ache blender, and I do too, but I just think it works not as well as the Prismacolor. I would love to know what blender you use and what blender you like and how you feel about the Caran d'Ache versus the Prismacolor. All right. So I think now I'm going to color her shoes. So there's going to be a lot of black in here because of the background. So I'm going to do her shoes in a brown. So I'm just picking two shades, one darker than the other. I just have a sheet of paper next to me that I'm just kind of scratching on to check my color hues. So I'm using coconut shell and monk's robe. So coconut shell is a little bit of a lighter brown and monk's robe is darker. So I'm just gonna color the shoes in all over with the coconut shell. And I think this color really does look like the outer shell of a coconut. It is really that color. So I'm gonna blend that out. It's not coloring all of the white now, but it will in a few minutes. And so I'm gonna blend that. Sometimes I blend the base color before I add the top color on because I don't wanna blend the darker color into the lighter color so much that it fades away and that you don't see it. So sometimes I blend the base color and then I add my other highlights, lowlights, whatever in there, so that way they don't disappear as much and you can see them. So now I'm just adding in the darker shade here and there. It's not super pronounced, but you can see it. So let me bring that up to you so hopefully you can see the two shades. I hope you can see that. And so now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to use the monk's robe and the coconut shell for this part, her belt and these little strings. I want them to be like leather. So I'm going to use those same colors. I'm just going to give the one a quick sharpen. So I'm just using the coconut shell first. I think I actually want the inside of the belt to be black. So I'm gonna come back in with the licorice and do the center of the belt black. Again, I will blend those out with the blender in just a second. I'm trying to stay in the lines, but I'm not totally worried about going a little bit outside because I will be coloring this dress in. I think I'm gonna do purple, so that will cover up any little misses I did. So I'm not totally worried about that right now. All right, so just as I did before, I am going to blend the lighter brown out and in, I guess you could say. Okay, I did get a tiny bit of the black in the glow area, so I just want to get rid of that. Again, real quick before I forget. Okay. Many people don't realize that you can use a blender with one color. It's not only to, oops, I forgot a little bit there. It's not only to blend one or more, it's not only to blend two colors together, but it's also used to burnish and make one color opaque. So that way you don't have to burnish with your colored pencils and keep going over it using different layers, pressing hard, all of that. Your blender does the work for you. So now I'm going to add my dark. Oop, my pencil point broke. And this I'm just doing some random little points, little places of darker color. And now I'm going to take my white. This is my Prismacolor again. And where there's a curve in this leather, I'm going to add a little bit of white for highlight to show that bend a little bit better. So I'm just doing some little splashes of white here and there. And that helps just to showcase that there's a bend. So let me bring that up. So hopefully you can see that. Okay. I'm not really sure what I want to do these little bits in. So I think I'm gonna leave those for now. So I'm gonna go ahead and start coloring the hat. So I think I want the hat to be black, and I will add a little bit, maybe this little band here, sorry. This little band here of purple to match the dress. So I'm gonna take a second and test my purples to see. Oh, I think I found one. I kind of like that. Okay. So I think I found the purple for the dress. So that never happens that quickly. All right. So, and now I'm just going to find a darker one to add some darkness into that. All right. I probably should be using my swatch list, but I'm not, because I would have to then keep picking out colors to try to find the one that I want. So right now, I think it's just easier to just try to swatch and find one. All right. The only thing I will say is that, especially on the Brutfuners, the color of the pencil does not match the lead at all. You'll pick a color, you'll pick a pencil and you think it's a really dark color, and it's not. Like this one looks like a really dark color. I mean, look how dark the pencil is, and it's not at all. It's a very light color. So that is one complaint, if I have any, about the Brutfuner pencils. They're outside, their pencil colors do not match the leads very well at all. So you really have to search. So far, I'm not really finding a deeper purple. So I think I might go to a blue. Okay, that's a nice deep blue. I think that will work. All right, so I'll show you those in a minute, but I'm gonna do my licorice and color the hat. So I want the hat to be pretty dark and pretty opaque. So I'm gonna be blending this out. All right, this point's a little dull, so I'm gonna give it a sharpen. I'm using medium pressure. I want to cover, but I'm not trying to burnish, because I will be burnishing and blending in with the colorless blender, so I can go a little bit light on here. I just want coverage, but I'm going to blend in to get rid of all the white spaces that are showing. I'm not sure what color I want to do those candles. I'm sort of thinking a very light purple, like a lilac or something like that. I don't know if I want them to be white. There's a lot of white on here with the ghosts and the skulls. I'm not sure if I'm going to be leaving the skulls white or not. I'm sort of thinking of maybe coloring them green. I don't know. So okay, so there's my hat. So now I'm gonna burnish and blend with my blender. There were some little dots on the front of the hat. I did try to go around them, but it's not working. So I can just add a few in when I do that with my gel pen at the end. I use medium pressure when I'm using these colorless blenders. You don't need to press super hard to get them to do their job. So now I'm just gonna go back in and just add a little bit more black. Where I feel like it's not as dark as I would like it to be. Again, the colorless blenders do pick up color, so sometimes you have to go back in and add a little bit more to make sure you have the opacity and the dark color shade that you want. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. And now I'm going to take my white pencil and I'm gonna add just a little bit in the center to help give it a little bit more of a 3D look. So the hat doesn't look totally flat. Okay, just a little bit. It's subtle. It's really subtle, but that's what I want it to be. So let me show you that close up. So again, it's really, really subtle, but it just gives a little hint that it is round and not totally flat. All right, so now I'm gonna take my purple, which I chose grape, and I'm gonna color this band. And then I'm gonna blend that. I'm actually gonna blend it with white. When you blend with white, you get the same effect as a blender, but the white lightens the color a little bit. And now I'm just gonna add a little bit more of the purple in around the edges. Okay, so there's the band. You can see that a little bit closer. So now I am ready to color the dress. So I am going to color the entire dress in grape. However, I think I want this little part here, this little like butterfly wing, the collar, and this little frilly cuff to be a different shade. And then I also want the bow to be different. I think I'm actually gonna do the bow in orange. I want her to be a real Halloween witch. So I'm just gonna choose a lighter purple to do the bow in. And I'm going for like the lilac-y colors. Okay, I think I like this one. So this one is Bellflower. So this is a very lilac color. And I'm just gonna choose another one to be a little bit darker and yeah, okay. So I'm choosing Phlox. So I think I'm gonna color the bow first. So I'm gonna do an all over color of the Bellflower. This is a nice lilac. Oh, I just changed my tune. Wait a minute. Whoopsie. Okay, hold on a second. I'm gonna erase that because I said I wanted to do the bow in orange. Now I could cut that, but I'm gonna leave it because things do not always go perfectly when we are doing art, when we are coloring. Sometimes we screw up, and I think it's important to show that. So I'm using a Prismacolor eraser, and I'm not gonna get every bit of color off, but I think I'm getting it good enough where I should be able to color on top of that. So I don't mess that up again. I'm gonna go ahead and color my bow orange. I had intended on doing it after, but I don't think I can wait. So all right, I'm gonna do this one. And this one as my darker. Okay, so I'm using Vibrant Orange for my orange bow and Orange Rust for the deeper shade. All right, I think that's gonna be just fine. I'm glad I didn't color really hard, and I'm glad I realized before I used the blender, because that would have been much more difficult to get it off. And then I probably would have had to make the bow, either leave it purple or make it black or something. So I'm really glad I caught it. All right. So again, I'm gonna blend this. If you've watched my other videos before, or some of my other videos, you know that I have a beautiful black cat that almost always makes an appearance. I think he is sleeping, so he has not been around so far, so maybe he'll make an appearance a little later. So now I'm gonna add the darker color in. Give a little bit of low light, a little bit of depth to the bow. It's not super dark and overpowering. And now I'm going to add just a little bit of white. To give a little bit of lightness. And again, to kind of show that the bow is 3D and not just flat. So there's the bow up close. Hope you can see that. All right, so now I'm gonna do my bellflower and my phlox. So here they are. Here's bellflower and phlox, lilac, and just a purple on these little butterfly elements on her dress and on the cuffs and on the collar. All right, so now we're back on track. Have you ever done that? Colored something the wrong color that you that you didn't want to color it? What did you do? I'd love to know in the comments. Did you fix it? Did you just leave it? I have done that before, and there are times that I have just decided to leave it. I was just like, heck with it. I'm just gonna leave it. It's not that bad. I can deal with it. But in this one, I really want the bow to stand out. So I didn't want to do that. All right. Now I'm trying to find, okay, here's the phlox. Okay, so I'm gonna blend the lilac first. And then just like I did with the bow, add a little bit of a darker color to add depth and dimension. Okay. So, oh, this is really not very sharp. If you're wondering, I have an AFMAT electric sharpener, and I absolutely 100% love it. It is a great sharpener. I can't remember how much it was. I will say I'm pretty sure it was a little expensive. It's not on the cheaper side, but it is really, really good. Works really, really well. The only thing I don't like about it is that at least the model I bought, because they have lots and lots of different models, they seem to do mostly sharpeners. I think they have other items too, but they have a large number of different sharpeners. And it only has one hole, so one size capacity. So I have a set of Spectrum Noir colored pencils, and they are thicker, and I cannot sharpen them in this sharpener. And that is kind of a pain, but I still like the sharpener otherwise. So I'm gonna take this little edge and I'm gonna do it with this color that I'm using right now, the phlox. And I'm just gonna color that dark. Now these here have the ribbon, so I'm not sure what color I want to make the ribbon, so I'm going to leave that. So let me show you up close what those little details look like. I'm not going to add white in there because it's so small, and I think they look highlighted already. I don't think I need to add any more. And, oh, I did want to do her collar, this color as well. So let me do that real quick. Oop, don't want the fox. Okay. Okay. All right. So buttons. I think I want to do the buttons black. I think it's just nice and simple. If I were going to use a lot of different supplies, I would probably make them silver or gold and use gel pen, but they're so small. It's just not worth trying to make silver or gold with colored pencils on them. So I'm just going to do them black. Okay. So now I'm going to go ahead and color the dress. So I'm going to use grape. I tend to gravitate towards the more grapey purples. Oop, something is on the back of that. Okay. I like the reddish purples, but I don't know, whenever I have to color something purple, I usually gravitate towards the darker, more bluer shades of purple. Okay. I do apologize for the camera shake. Again, I'm just coloring with medium pressure. I'm going to blend to get opacity, so I don't have to worry about that. So I don't know about where you live, but where I live, we are finally getting into fall. Last week we were in the 70s and 80s. And then at the end of the week, it started to get cool, and that's pretty much where we're gonna stay. I think now we're probably not gonna get much higher than in the 60s, which is fine with me. I'm fine with that because snow is probably going to come sooner than we want it to. So I'll take every day that's above freezing that I can get. Today it is in the 40s. I don't think it's slated to get much warmer. We're pretty much, it's the middle of the day now, so we're pretty much at where we're gonna be. So fall is really starting. And where I live, we have a lot of trees that lose their leaves. So this time of year is really, really pretty, really spectacular to see all the falling leaves. I hope you don't mind the sharpening. I am not super technical. I'm actually technically challenged, and I am not the most proficient video editor, so I do not know how I could take out that sound. So I apologize. I try not to sharpen, and only sharpen when I really need to, so you don't have to suffer through that. This has been really fun so far, using just colored pencils. I know I'm using just colored pencils for the most part. Like I said, I'm gonna go over the little dots, whatever they may be, in gel pen at the end. But otherwise, I'm using all pencils, and it's really nice. It's really nice to know that's what I'm going to use and really stick to that. Have you bought any pages from Hannah Karlzon's Etsy store? I would love to know. This is my, I think, third or fourth one. I have a bunch in my cart, but I haven't bought them because I'm really trying not to buy PDF pages or pages I need to print right now, because I'm coloring in books mostly. I'm working on finishing 2 books at this moment. I'm working on finishing Daydreams by Hannah Karlzon, and I am working on finishing The Beauty of Horror 6 by Alan Robert. So I really don't have time to color PDFs. Now, this one I wanted to do a color along with, so that was different, but I put them in my cart and then I just leave them there until I'm ready to purchase them, or I'm sick of coloring in books and I want to color some PDFs. So I try not to purchase new pages or whatever when I'm not going to be using them. So I've only purchased a few. She has a really cool duo that's a cat. It's kind of like Spirit Animals, where it's a young lady and then an animal on the other page, and it's cats, and it's really cute. And so I have that one in my cart that I want to purchase, and a couple other ones. If you haven't checked out our Etsy store yet and you like Hannah Karlzon, I highly suggest it. So now I'm going to blend this out. There's another store I really like on Etsy. I like Sarah Richter. Her pages are very gothic inspired, including a lot of skulls and just gothic imagery, but they are really beautiful. I bought this one from her that has a woman and then she's surrounded by all of these butterflies, and it is really, really lovely. I've yet to color it. I do have it printed. I have not colored it yet though. It's one of the ones that I really want to get to soon. So just to show you the difference between the blended side and the non-blended side, you can really see a difference. So the colorless blender with one color does a lot. I remember I tried burnishing once and it took me forever. And by the time I was done, my hand was so sore. And I was like, there's gotta be a better way to do this. So I started using my blender and I have not looked back. And like I said, if you know, some people like to burnish with their, what is that? Like to burnish with the pencils, and that's fine. For me, it's just too hard and time consuming. And I really like when you burnish, it gives the look of fabric. So you really don't have to try to achieve that look. It just kind of happens. So I really like that. It looks like a kind of heavy woven fabric, or it can also look like a soft kind of almost velour-like or velvet-like fabric. So however you choose to see it. I'm looking forward to this being done so I can add the darker color in. I'm still trying to decide what I want to do with those tassels. I was thinking they had to be one color, but now I don't really think they do. I think I can make them multicolored. So I'm kind of thinking maybe orange and black. I think that would definitely add a little bit of pizzazz to this very dark purple dress. I need to decide soon, though. It's coming up pretty quickly, so I'll have a decision made. I'll know what I want to do when I'm ready to color those. I really try not to belabor too much on color choice. Like if I don't know right away what I want to color something, okay, I'll just move on and color something else. But then when I get to the point where I need to color that item, I just go ahead and pick a color and do it. There have been times where I have set aside a page because I just didn't know what I wanted to do with the color. And I figure maybe if I let it go a little bit, it'll give me time to think of something, or it'll give me time to maybe see an idea from somebody else, or hear of an idea from another colorist, or see a page that I might be able to use an idea on. I'll sharpen that again. But I really try not to do that. I think I've said this before, that I tend to have a lot of works in progress because the way I've colored traditionally is doing a little bit here, a little bit there, skipping to a lot of different pages across a book or across several different books. And I really want to try to get away from that because I want to have more finished pages and not so many works in progress. So I really tried to alter how I color, and so that is one area that I have tried to hold myself accountable and say, nope, pick a color. It will be okay. It's not going to ruin your page. The page will still look good. You'll still be happy with it. Pick a color, color the page, and move on. And so far, I've had success with it. I have felt like doing that has been a good thing, and it helps me to finish many more pages. Okay, yay, almost done with the blending. Again, I'm okay with areas looking kind of nuanced because fabric does have nuances in it, so I'm okay with that. All right, so now to add in the darker color, I'm using a blue because I could not find a purple that was darker than this one. So I am using dark denim. A little different for me. I normally don't use a blue and a purple together. So I kind of like it so far. It's different. I am gonna come back in and blend out this blue a little bit. Just because in fabric, I think it would blend out. It wouldn't necessarily stand out so much as a separate color. So in a dress like this anyway. So I think I'm gonna okay, so now I'm gonna just blend that out a little bit. Not too much, I don't want it to disappear. So let me just show that to you a little bit close up. And now I'm gonna go around and add white into the centers little bit near the folds, just to, again, give that semblance of 3D-ness. And movement in the fabric. And as you can see, I don't do this with any kind of preciseness. I just add it in. To me, the more kind of natural it looks, the better. Especially on fabric. I think it looks more fabric-y if you are more like fabric. I don't know if fabric-y is a word. If you just are very random with it. All right, and there I've added some white so you can see the difference there. Okay, dress done. So, all right, the little ribbons. I think I'm gonna do those. Trying to picture them orange, and I'm trying to picture them black. If I do them orange, the orange is not the focal point anymore. So I think I'm gonna stick with black. Now, if I were doing these with gel pen, or I could use, or was going to use gel pen or metallic marker, I think I would probably do these either silver or gold. Maybe silver. But the cool thing is about this is that I can print this page as many times as I want, and I can color it again with totally different colors if I want. It's one thing I really like about PDFs. Not that you can't copy a book, because when I get a book that I really like, I will take pictures of the pages, either the entire book if I really love the whole book, or I'll take pictures of the pages that I really like, the illustrations that I really like, and then I'll just save them in my computer. And if I want to color a page again, I'll just print it up, and then I can color that page again. All right, so now I'm trying to figure out what I want to do with these little streamers. Somehow I feel like they should be different colors, and I think I want to do them in black, orange, and green. I know I'm bringing some orange down. Maybe I could just do black and green instead. All right, I need a little bit more time to figure it out. So I'm gonna color the little stars right now. So I actually have some metallic colored pencils. So I think I'm going to use one of those. right, so let's see how this one is. This one is a Royal metallic pencil. So I imagine the company is Royal. And I believe this one is gold. So let's see how I like this one. Yeah, I like it. It's pretty gold. Okay. There's only 2 stars, so that's fine. I'm going to do a little bit of white in the center. To help indicate that the stars are 3D. So there are my stars. You can see that. I wish that gold were a little bit lighter and brighter, but it's okay. So the beads, I think I'm gonna do silver. So I have a silver colored pencil. This one is a Fine Touch. That's the company, the Fine Touch, I think. And this one is silver. So I'm gonna color, oop, the point is breaking off. So let me sharpen that. So I'm gonna color those beads. In silver. That didn't work very well. Still didn't work very well. Let me try again. Okay. I don't really have a point, but I can color with it. Okay. I'm not sure what's going on there. Okay. Colored pencils don't look super metallic, but all right, there they are. They do look kind of silvery, so I think it works. For a colored pencil anyway, and I don't think those are high quality colored pencils at all, so I think it's okay. So actually, now that I'm thinking of it, I think I'm gonna do the candles in silver as well. I was thinking of maybe doing them purple, but I don't think I wanna do that. I think I want them to be silver. So I'm just gonna color these candles really quickly. Okay, so there are the candles. I'm probably not going to do much more with those. All right, so now for my little tassels. I'm not sure I want to bring the orange down there. I don't know. Maybe I should. I think 2 colored tassels, if I just do them green and black, I don't think are going to be very exciting. So I think I will do orange. So I'm going to do the same color orange as the bow. So I'm going to use my vibrant orange again. And these are very small areas, so I'm not going to use the blender. So I'm just going to color these and just make sure I get nice saturation of color. I forgot one. Let me do this one. Okay. Right. Now I'll do the black. I still haven't decided what green I want to use yet, so I'll have to pick that out. Okay, I need to choose a green. That one's kind of cool. I want it to be a little bit darker than, or I want it to be much darker than the green of the glow. Okay, I think I'm gonna use this one. Just gotta sharpen it. Okay, that took longer than normal. All right. Oh, this is foliage. And I would say it's a like a light green. It's not super dark. Okay, I'm just seeing some little spaces in the dress here that I just want to darken up. Okay. Yeah, it's definitely not a grass green. It's not olivey or anything. It's, I would say, like a light green. Okay, I actually like that. So there are the tassels close up. I like how those turned out. So I'm gonna quickly do the laces on her boots, and I'm doing those black. I forgot about those earlier, so I'm just gonna do those real quick so I don't forget. Okay. So now for her hair. I think I want her to have sort of silvery or kind of whitish gray hair with some green highlights. Now the hair is very, very small. I'm not going to be able to do a whole lot with it, but I think I can achieve what I want. So I'm going to use silver of the Brutfuner colors. And then I'm also going to use lilac ash. It's a little bit purpley, but not too much. And I'm just going to color strands. Normally, I would do the darkest color on the outside edges of a section and then come in lighter and then have the middle section be lightest. But this hair area is so small, it just doesn't need that. So I'm going to do it a little bit differently. So I'm starting out with the light ash. Now I'm going to do the silver, and then anything left over is going to be green. And I'm going to use the same green from the tassels. I just really like that green. Okay, so let me show you that close up. I think that's different than what I normally do, so I kind of like that. So now I'm gonna do her skin, and I really want her to be very pale. So I'm going to use, this one is double cream. So it's a very light, creamy color. I'm not going to do a whole lot of highlighting or anything with the skin. There's such a little area of skin that I'm not going to do too much with it. Now on her face, I'm gonna blend slash burnish with white. Because again, I want her to look very pale. I feel like witches either are green or are very pale. And she's actually a young witch, and definitely not looking like a ghoul or anything like that. So I think she can be. So she has some freckles, so I'm going to use my monk's robe. But before I do that, I want to give her a little blush in the cheeks. I'm just pulling a pink out. I'm pulling Azalea Pink. It's sort of a bright pink, I would say. And I'm just going really lightly over that cheek area. I'm going to give that a little bit of a blend. There was some dark on my blender. So now I'm going to add, with the monk's robe, this is the dark brown, I'm going to just go over the little dots that Hannah has drawn in, her little freckles. Very cute. Okay, so you can see the little freckles, hopefully. All right, so I think now I'm going to add a little bit of gray to the skulls. And I was thinking of doing them green. Actually, maybe I'll do them green and purple. So I think I'm gonna use the foliage again. That's the same color I used on the little tassels here. And I'm just gonna do every other one. I'll do every other one green and then the rest purple. And I'm just gonna give them a super light tint. So I am just coloring very, very lightly. I kind of want them to look sort of sickly, I guess. Hi, Finn. Here's Finn coming in the mix once again. Hey, baby. Are you gonna watch Mommy color? I'm gonna have to move you in about 30 seconds. Oh, sorry. He likes to rub. He likes to rub against anything that's in his way. So, okay, buddy. All right, you got to get down. I'm sorry. Let me finish this. It's not going to take me too much longer. All right, and now I'm going to use the darker purple, the phlox, and do a very, very light layer on the other ones. And I'm gonna blend out these really light layers, and hopefully that should make them even lighter. I'm kind of tipping the pencil on the side. It's almost parallel to the paper. Oh, actually, I need to do... No, I'm gonna count... All right, I need to do the little drips from the skulls. All right, let me do these. Okay. Now I just have to go back with the green and do the little drips. Okay. All right, now I'm gonna take my blender. Blend these out. Actually, it's making it a little brighter. Well, it's okay. I want them to be different than the ghost, so I guess that's a good thing. Okay. And I just want them to look very smooth. I'm just going back over each one just to make sure it's nice and blended. Okay, so there are my little skulls. So now I just need to do her lips. That's one thing I forgot. So I'm just gonna take a pale pink. This is Coral Sands. And the lips are so thin, there's not really much to it. So it's really not taking that much to color those in. All right. I didn't want them too dark. I think she's a young witch. So now I'm gonna take a gray. I have Steeple Gray picked out. I think this is, it seems like just a regular gray. And I just want to add a little bit of color in the skulls around the little dots that Hannah drew in, just for a little bit of contrast. Again, I'm sorry if there's a little bit of camera shake. I apologize for that. And now I'm going to take my white and just do a little bit in the center to lighten up the center of the skull. It helps make it look a little bit more 3D, although it's not showing up too much. It's really, really light. And it also helps to blend a little bit too. Okay. So let me show you the finished skulls. Very subtle. All right, now I'm gonna take that gray and do a little bit on the ghost. I'm going very, very lightly. I want it to be very pale. I don't want to do too much. Oh, here he comes again. All right, buddy, I'm sorry, I gotta put you down. Oh, I know. Mommy's busy and I can't pay attention to you. I'm sorry. All right, I won't be if you let me get done with this, I won't be too much longer. Oh, gosh. If you are a cat owner, you probably know what I go through. Just going very, very lightly. You can barely see, but that's fine. That's how I want it. I don't want it to look like a gray ghost. I want it to be a white ghost with a little bit of gray, I guess, highlighting. So here's the ghost up close. And then here's the other one that's plain. And I think it looks better with a little bit of gray added. I was thinking of adding a little bit of pink to like the cheek areas here, but I don't know. I think it would make it too sweet. And these are ghosts after all, so I don't want them to be too... too mild. Okay. And now I'm going to take a different gray. I'm going to use vintage khaki. Just going to sharpen that real quick. And I'm going to add a little bit of shadow. So I'm adding a little bit of shadow around the skulls where they interact with the ghost. I'm doing this on its side. I'll probably have to come back and add once I finish the background. I don't want to add it in now because I'm not sure what's going to be black and what's not. I'll figure that out once I color the background. Okay. So just let me show you the little bit of shadow. Okay. Very subtle, but you can see it. And I'm just going to add some shadow on the right side of the bow. I don't even know if it's going to show. Around the little flutter. I want to show that these are kind of sticking up a little bit. They're a little puffy. And I'm going to add a little shadow where her cuff overlaps her hand. And along the edge of the hat, where the hat covers up the hair. Again, it's really subtle. It might not even show that much, but I'm okay with that. I don't want to use a darker color, really. I don't want it to be too much. And now I'm going to do the same thing along the right side of the cords. This color is not really showing up. Okay, I think I need to use a darker one. So I'm actually going to get the licorice for this. And this will help make the shadow a little darker. Yeah, you can see it a little bit now. I'm just going very lightly. Right now I'm just doing the cords, and then I'll do the tassels and the other decorations. I want to get this done first. Now I'm just doing it on the right side. It's just what I do. I'm adding it on the bottom of the belt and then on the right side of the cord wrapping. That's just how I do my shadows. I'm not sure if that's how light really works, but that's what I do. Doing a little little bit more here on the bow. Okay. I'm gonna add a little bit underneath the hat too. I just want it to be a little bit darker. Okay. All right, I'm gonna put a little bit in front of the shoes. And around the folds of the fabric. I just kind of do what looks good to me. I did do a shadow video on my channel, and I just talked about just doing what looks good to you. I do not know the ins and outs of light and all of that. I just do what looks good and what makes things pop to where I like how it looks. So now I'm going to add a little bit on the sides of the little tassels. I try to vary the, I guess you could say the opacity or the darkness, because that way it kind of looks like some of them are a little bit further away and some of them are closer. So I try to vary it a little bit. It just gives the illusion. Again, it's not perfect, but I like that you just get a little bit so it doesn't look totally flat, which is what I want. Okay, so let me show you that. I did some down here in the folds of the dress. I did it here on the cords, so you can see that. All right. I'm gonna do a little against the candles, although it's really not gonna show up, but all right. So now I wanna color the candle flame. So I'm gonna do like an orange red. This is orange.com. It's a dark orange. I'm gonna do that at the bottom of the flames. And then I'm gonna use citrus, which is like a yellow orange, and kind of blend that out. I'm going over the orange.com. And now I'm just grabbing a yellow. This is blazing yellow. And I'm gonna put that on the top. Again, kind of blending that in with the rest of it. So they're the little flames. All right, I think I have everything done the way I want. There's not a lot of eye space in there, so I'm not gonna color her eyes. I think I want these to remain white. I'm not gonna do anything with those. So all that's left is to do the background. So I think I'm going to use chalk pastels for the background. So I'm gonna grab my chalk pastels because I moved them since I made the other part of the video. It's actually a different day. And I'm gonna grab those and then continue with the background. So I have my black, and I'm just gonna stick a piece of paper behind so I don't go off onto my table. And I'm just going to color this in. Now, if you don't have chalk pastel pencils, you could use sticks. I have the sticks too. It's just that I find myself using the pencils a lot more. They're just easier to control. So I kind of like the pencils better, but I still have the pastel sticks and I do use them. But I really like the control the pencils give you. And I'm trying to color neatly because I do want a nice smooth appearance of the night sky. Now when I come up to the wax, it's not going to take the color as well, which is fine. So when you come up to the pencils, it's not going to allow you to put too much of the chalk on top of the pencils because they have wax in them. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and smooth this out. And right now, even before I finished, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna have to put another layer on it. Some people don't really like chalk pastels because it takes a lot more effort to get the kind of saturation and opacity than with pencils. You do have to apply more and keep applying it to get more denseness of color, but okay, I'm going to turn this around and color the rest of it. But to me, I don't mind the easiness of the blending really is what gets me. Like that's really important to me, to have the ability to blend really easily and not to have to work at blending so much. Now here I'm only using one color, so it's not as big of a deal, but if I was using multiple colors, like I sometimes do, if I'm making a sunset, or a lot of times if I'm doing night sky, I'll add some purple in there, I'll add some blue for depth and dimension, a little bit difference. it's really nice to have the blending ability of the chalk pastels. They just blend so seamlessly. Oop. Okay. And this paper, interestingly, seems to be really absorbent. I'm not getting all kinds of dust all over that I normally get using the chalk pastels. Okay, so that's my first application of the black pastel. Now I'm going to sharpen my pencil and just go over it again. To make it a little bit darker. Tell this one I'm doing with a little less precision, I guess, because I already have a layer down. You don't have to be as meticulous and neat. Okay. Come back in, spread that out again. The one thing I'm trying to make sure is to blend it really well, because you just don't want it to look like there's crayon on your paper. You want it to look as smooth as you possibly can make it. So I try to get all the strokes out and really blend that into the paper. I use cheap eyeshadow applicators, as you can see. So they eventually rip. So when it rips, I just flip it over and start with a new side. Now I'm gonna take a clean side and just go over the barrier between the chalk and the pencil glow. Helps to kind of soften it a little bit and make like the glow runs into a little bit more. Okay, I'm just gonna erase this. I added some chalk on there and I don't like the way that looks. Okay, there we go. I'm just gonna add a little bit more of the glow back in. Okay. So, oh, I just see some parts where I didn't put the black in here and right here. All right. So that's the basic page. Now I want to just add some white gel pen. All right. Oh, there we go. Okay. I'm using a Uniball. They seem to be the most reliable. Not always, but I would say 90% of the time. There are times when I can't get it to work. Some of the dots I can see, some I can't. So where I can't see them, I'm just kind of making my own and just adding some in. You're probably wondering, you said that you were going to do this all in colored pencil, and I did mostly. I did I did the main illustration almost all in colored pencil. And now I'm just adding a little bit of gel pen, and I used gel pen for the background, or excuse me, chalk pastels for the background just because it's easier. I might have to go over this with a different pen. Oh, now it's working. If you use white gel pen, you know that it does not always work. Sometimes they're finicky and they just decide to stop. I may have to go over these a little bit. With a different pen. I often go over any gel pen areas I do with a second layer once it all dries. Especially stars or little, I don't know what these are considered. I guess I'm considering them stars. So they can show up better. Okay, the pen's kind of pooping out a little bit. Come on, keep going. Don't give up on me now. All right, let me see. I think I have another. I have a bunch of other ones. Let me try that. Okay, this one definitely seems to be working better. Okay, I may go in and add a few more of these, but for right now, I'm gonna consider this done. I really like how it came out. I think it's really cute. So let me move it so you can see the whole thing. Let me see if I can move the camera up so you can hopefully see a little bit more of it all together. All right, so that's the page. Again, I really like how it came out. It was really fun to do. I love Hannah Karlzon's work. I hope you enjoyed this color along. If you colored along with me, I would love to see your completed page. If you join my Facebook group, you can post it there. You can follow me on Instagram, and I believe you can post it in the community tab here on YouTube, although I'm not totally sure about that. I'm still trying to figure out how that works, but I would love to see your work if you did do this page. Thank you so much for watching this video. I truly hope you enjoyed it and got something out of it, ideas, inspiration, whatever. And I hope you have a fabulous and very crafty day.